First and foremost, super happy to be here today. Hope that everybody on this call gets some value from today. Just a little bit of background of myself. I've now been in real estate. I'm going on my 8th year, and it has been an awesome career thus far. So far in my career, I've sold a little bit over $350 million worth of real estate. So you guys can start doing the calculations and plugging away. It's been again, an awesome career. Super grateful for what the real estate industry has done for me. And as Manuel had mentioned, I actually brought my best friend Jake into the business. And his first year in the business, I think he did something like 750K GCI, etc. And he was kind of my main prodigy, if you will. He's the guy I was pouring everything into. Mind you, he's an amazing student. Took all that stuff, ran with it, digested it, and then added his own layers on top. And since then, we've now been business partners for the better part of a year to really build an amazing real estate team that we're going to have tremendous success with. Our first year as a real estate team this year, we'll do about $125 million worth in real estate volume, which is a pretty solid first year start out of the gate, keeping in mind that we don't even have a dozen agents. So there's a ton of volume being pushed through each and every one of our agents that is essentially just going to be doing a lot of what we'll be talking about today, our best practices, what actually works, and how to stay focused on those things that kind of move the needle forward. Another thing is I'm happily married, which is the reason why I do what I do, because I got an amazing wife and 2 awesome boys. My eldest son just turned 9 and my youngest son just turned 5, and I am 28. So going back to the math calculator, now you guys can start punching in those numbers. But guys, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I eat, breathe, and sleep real estate, but really the people industry, right? I'm really good at connecting with families at a high level. I'm only talking to people with the real estate needs and how that kind of like the transaction works. And it's a pretty simple transaction for the most part, even if you haven't done it hundreds of times like I have. It's fundamentally the same almost every time. And it's just showing people kind of what it is that you're able to do to provide for them. They park their trust in you, and the business just really flows. Like, it's just as simple as that. A lot of my mentors kind of showcased that for me in the beginning. And yeah, but I mean, how many people do we have on this call right now?
Let's see, Michelle, you have that count. I'm seeing 20, but a few of those have to be fathoms. So I'm thinking anywhere from 15 to 20.
Awesome. So here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to just like take the reins and go, here's what I think you guys should know. I'd rather make this a little bit more interactive. And usually when I'm ever presenting, if it's a live class, I usually have a whiteboard and I just start shooting off. First and foremost, why are you guys here today? Right? Why are you taking the time in your schedule to hop on this call? Number 2, what are some things you're looking to gain from this? And number 3, maybe anything that you're seeing in your specific business that you're hoping to maybe bring to the next level or kind of break through on barriers. So if we can maybe have a moderator or someone drop in a chat channel and just, do you guys want to just drop in some things right now? What I often find too is a lot of people have the same fundamental things that can be broken down into very few columns, like conversion, lead generation, marketing, things such as that. So if you guys just want to drop in a chat right now, maybe some things that you're currently struggling with, some things you're looking to try to get some value from, and what are the key things that made you come to today's session, that would be super awesome and helpful. And then if I can just get someone to read the notes and just moderate some things to me, then I can just maybe start compiling, how to start tackling this.
Excellent. We'll go ahead and take all those notes in. No, we have just Davidson. So, we have some people that have been with us for a little bit longer. And then we have some people that are newer to the crowd. Also, some are newer to real estate. So it's an interesting mix of a little bit of everything. Guys, you heard Jake. If you guys could please drop a little comment in the chat. There we go. The first one. So I'll go ahead and start taking those in. Thank you.
So I can see it.
Big goals here. I see. Break through the barriers. Keep me hitting 1 million GCI.
Amazing. Yeah. Here's what I would love to hit that with. A lot of agents, including myself early in my career, we focus on top line GCI. Right now, we're really focusing on net profitability. And that's a very big pivoting point as you scale businesses. So I'd love to dive a little bit in that, and maybe specifically how we've decided to partner with Meskula to help us get to that goal, right? So awesome. Love to chime in a little bit on that. Anybody else?
Yep, we got Joshua Kaufman here, converting prospects to leads, good leads, to listing appointments. With Joshua Kaufman, just a little more context. Joshua's been with us for about 2 months, going on 3, more or less. And he's had some good conversations. He's been able to meet with a few people in the last few weeks. And Joshua, is there anything specific to your question, right? So just taking leads to actual listing appointments?
I guess it would be like a more of a mix of everything. How to actually convert the people that are, say, going through your funnel, that are going into, that you can kind of get them into like a different area in a way to kind of like how they go from like prospects, right, to leads to actually close leads. So I'm trying to understand how to like get the question that kind of like get more fluent,
Yeah,
but
well,
like
I think what you're trying to say is, hey, how do I probably identify that person? Where do they belong? What's the follow-up plan? And how is that I actually can see the light at the end of the tunnel and getting paid? Is that a fair thing? Did I miss anything along those lines?
that's basically exactly it. That's literally it.
Cool. Yeah, so I think I could definitely probably hop onto that right now. Converting in, creating, okay, cool. Well, let's hop into that one real quick. So first and foremost, everybody is a lead. You have to really identify that. Like every single person you connect with, shake your hand, have any sort of conversation with, they are a lead. It really comes down to the one key metric, which is time. How long is it going to take that lead, right? So me personally in my business, I don't deal with anybody that's longer than 2 years out, just because it's hard to keep that follow-up for so much time, for lack of better terms. So when we're connecting with someone, I'll give you an example, even from a school, and I'll be very direct with the school engagement that we've had. We get a ton of inquiries and inbounds. And usually when I call people, it's for one of the few things. When I call them, they either want an updated evaluation because maybe they're planning to refinance, maybe they're planning to go through a separation, maybe they're actually thinking about selling their home, maybe they're actually just curious because they've been in their home for 30 plus years and they don't know what their equity position is. Now, I just gave some really key 4 things. And the reason I open that up is because when I take these calls, I'll get on and I'll go like, hey, Emmanuel, it's David Robio calling. How are you? And Emmanuel will go, oh, I'm good, thanks. I go, hey, listen, I just got an inbound inquiry that you requested to get an updated valuation of your property. And I just wanted to make sure I can give you the right type of evaluation. Do you have 2 minutes for me now? And they go, sure. And I go, great. Before I can start telling you anything about your home, I need to know why you want to know this evaluation. Are you doing it for estate planning purposes? Are you doing it because you're planning to do a refinance? Are you doing it because you just simply want to know your value? Or are you planning to sell your home sometime in the near future? And the second I do that, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about this. And I go, awesome, super glad that I asked because that entails XYZ. Okay, so for instance, I had a call with someone yesterday at noon that Meskula had booked for us. And when I spoke with them, this gentleman said, hey, I actually need this because I'm going to get a separation and I'm going to be selling my home in a year and a half. And I said, awesome. So what you need then is you need a letter of opinion of value from a real estate agent, but you're probably also going to need a couple. Is that correct? He goes, as a matter of fact, you're the 3rd person I'm calling. And I'm like, great. So let me get you over that letter of opinion of value. I'm not going to rush to this person's house because it's not really a lead in which their time horizon requires me to go to their house. And it's also not a for sale that's going to be happening right away. So what I'm doing in that state is identifying the lead. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is provide them with a letter of opinion of value and put them on a follow-up plan that'll be keeping in contact with them. But I don't think in my head, oh, I'm going to go list this home for sale in the next year, year and a half. There's so many things there. However, I did connect with someone through Meskula lead who said, hey, you know what? If we were able to get this number, we'd be selling in the fall market. And I said, awesome. In order for me to articulate that number specifically, I'm going to need to walk through your house for 15 minutes. So when can we make that happen? And I booked those appointments. So what I'm doing is I'm really focusing when I'm having these conversations with people, identifying the lead, the type of lead that they are, and then seeing who actually requires me to go jump out of my seat and go sit with them face to face. And usually that's like a radar of they're trying to sell within the next 6 months or so. If not, I try to befriend them, see what type of value it could be providing to them at that time. And the only way that I could be providing that value is if I'm understanding, why did you even hit that button? Why did you want to know? Why are you interested about knowing your home's value right now? And I think that shifts the perspective that people go, hey, you know what? I really like talking to you. The amount of times I've connected with people and they're like, this doesn't feel like a salesy call or like a pressuring thing or anything like that. I'm genuinely in my heart of hearts trying to know, why did you click that button and what can I do to be of service to you? And coming from that perspective, not only identifies the lead right away, it tells me how it is that we're planning to be following up with them, and it earns trust right away. So that would be my kind of 2 cents along that whole kind of identifying thing. And then the next is the follow-up plan. What are people doing right now for follow-ups? Like, what is that? When you guys hear follow-up, what comes to mind?
For this one, guys, you can throw it in the chat. Phone calls, says BJ over here. Archie also agrees with phone calls and follow up with emails as well. We have Michael, we have Jeffrey, and lastly, text. So
cool. So everyone can agree there's call, text, and email, but we're missing something else. Really, really important one, guys. Made me literally millions of dollars.
videos, and then Peggy, I think, hit it right in the okay, in-person visit.
Cool. In-person visit, videos, awesome. Here's a really simple one that I do from behind my desk all the time. I'll have an awesome call with somebody, awesome call. And unfortunately, the in-person visit doesn't require me at that time. Like that perfect example I just gave, had an awesome call with that person, probably 15 or 20 minutes. On that call, I got the credibility that I'm the right person to be speaking to. I did articulate how I'm going to be bringing that value, and I kind of highlighted how it is that we're going to stay together. When I'm done that call, I grab my pen, I grab a branded card, and I pretty much write, "Hey, Manuel, thanks for taking the time to chat with me." And I'll do a quick little synopsis. Looking forward to staying connected. I'll put a $2 Tim Hortons card or $2 whatever and say, "Hey, tomorrow's coffee or tea is on me." I put that on the corner of my desk. My assistant grabs them every Friday, drops them in the mail. And I put a key thing and say, "P.S. When you get this, please call me to let me know that you received it." And then people call me back. And I'm like, "Oh, you know what, Emmanuel? Listen, it's just a small token of my appreciation. I appreciate you taking the time." And they're like, "No, Dave, like I all of a sudden now just leveraged. If I had to get in my car, drive there, like, yeah, the in-person visit is best. But, and I know we mentioned about 1 million GCI. I've been doing over 1 million GCI for the past 4 years in a row. That's a lot of damn visits. So I try to strategically see how I can make enough of a lasting impression while being mindful of my time, my calendar, my schedule, and most importantly, spending as much time as I can with my family." Okay, so that's a really important thing to me. So those handwritten cards, if you're having 10 good lead calls a week, which by the way, if you are, Meskula, amazing. Like, I mean, you couldn't ask anything more from a lead company. And if those are somewhere around your metrics and you can't take the time to write 10 handwritten cards, that would be the one piece that I would add to all of you. Does everyone here know the 80-20 principle? I see thumbs up. Yeah, cool. So I live by the 80-20 principle. And the whole reason that this is so fundamentally important is because that little thing right there, that 20% effort is going to yield me 80% of the results. Okay. So I think the call, text, email is awesome, but every single one of your competitors, every single person that you know is doing the same thing. No one's writing that card, and it's a nice branded card. I throw my business card in there. And now when they get my emails, my calls, and my texts, how many of you guys have called someone and they go, "Wait, who is this? That shit doesn't happen to me." When I call them, like, "Oh, David, how are you?" So you have to establish that mind share, and that little handwritten card is one of the key things that we utilize immediately for a cold lead, just to warm them up a little bit. Okay. So that would be my one little tidbit for you guys that I would implement. Go to Vistaprint, go to whoever your local providers are, get a branded card, handwrite it every time, get a stack of maybe $100, $2 cards, actually inflation, maybe $5 Starbucks cards, $5 Tim Hortons cards, whatever your local coffee place is, get them, drop it in, and just make sure to write, "P.S. Please call me to make sure that you receive this." And here's the cool thing. We have their house address. They literally gave you their address. Before, guys, when I was doing this when I started my damn career, I was scrubbing the back end of addresses. Whose house is this? Oh, this looks like a sick house. Hey, I'd love to sell your home one day. Like, it wasn't this easy that I was just like, "Joop, here's their name. I had a call with them. Here's their address." Like, it literally couldn't get easier, right? And we're trying to build scalability in systems so we can leverage things out. And then I still, like, maybe because I'm old school, I like to sit here and I like to write out the card because it feels personal. I remember the conversation I had with them. And how many times you guys put notes in your profile? I had a call with someone. If you talk with Jake, we love Follow Up Boss. We live in Follow Up Boss. You write those same notes and then you write a handwritten card. It's the same thing. So that makes sense for everybody. Is anybody here doing that?
I saw Nicole comment, David. She said that she also has sent letters to their homes. And then Archie actually asking maybe up next, what is it 80-20 principle?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So here's what I would say, especially for scale. And who was it that said they send cards? Nicole. Awesome. So here's what I would say.
I have a stack of them here too. I do the same thing.
That is exactly it. And it's and how has your response been from that?
Oh, I mean, you get some that like don't actually call you back, but then you'd follow up with them anyways and be like, "Hey, did you get my card? Just want to make sure you got it." You know what I mean? And then you have a conversation and it just kind of trickles from there.
And that is exactly what it is. And it's going those extra little steps and like, listen, is it going to work 100% of the time? No, but it's that little piece that actually exponentially sets you apart from having yourself be remembered. Okay. So yeah, that's a super sweet one. Another one that we're doing, and I'm not trying to kill you guys to death, but we are at a different point in our business where we can spend a little bit more money. So I always tell everybody lead with revenue. And that's why one of those first comments about 1 million GCI, I'm all for that, but I'm net profit at the end of the day, how much money's in my account. Like that's where I'm at now. So what I would encourage all you guys is start with this. What we're going to now is a cover letter about our team, where you have an awesome marketing booklet that Jake and I spent thousands of dollars curating, getting edited, etc. It is gorgeous. It is stunning. It is sexy. We have that with our cover letter in a black envelope, and it gets delivered to their house now. And that is what we're implementing. And there's no freaking way that people aren't going to open that and go, "What is this?" And my whole thought, very similar to how you just mentioned, regardless if they call me back or not, they know who I am. They know when they click that button, I'm the most serious response they've ever got from clicking a button online. And that's good enough for me. And then maybe they go through the area, "Oh my gosh, I see that for sale sign. I know that guy." And you'd be surprised, and listings solve all problems. You start doing these things and strategically following up with people, and then you actually start converting and getting business, that becomes an awesome feedback loop. And you'll never know when that person will call me, hey, you actually sent me this package. And I've had people call me, because earlier on in my career, I'd actually drive out every Friday and I would drop them off at people's door. And I've had people call me like, hey, we got your package 6 months ago. We see you're selling houses. Can you come on by? So it's nothing's going to happen overnight, but it's something I would encourage you guys to all start to implement a little bit.
We have two cool questions. So one last one I mentioned is, what is the 80-20 principle by Archie? And then we have Camilla asking, so you don't need to go to their home in order to have a CMA done? Two good questions.
Two good questions. Awesome. So 80-20 principle, it's actually called the Pareto principle, and you guys can look this up. It was essentially it was a gentleman in Italy, and what he recognized was that all of the wealth, or majority of the wealth, 80% of the wealth in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. And he took that principle and said, this is a principle of life, that 80% of things are done by just doing 20% of activity. So I'll give you an example as a real estate agent. I'm not even going to give you guys any analogy. As a real estate agent, your number one thing is lead generation. Number two is lead follow-up. Number three is booking and going on appointments. Number four is negotiating and writing contracts. If you do those things well, your business card, your email signature, your website, that stuff doesn't really matter, because now you focus on the key things that actually be generating revenue. Okay, so all of our agents that work for us, that's all they do. They don't talk to us about marketing. They don't talk to us about anything else. They stick in their lanes. And if we know they're generating leads, they're following up, they're booking appointments, and they're negotiating and writing contracts, that they will yield 80% of the results, that we don't need to focus on all the other things. Okay, so just be super mindful that whenever you're doing something, just go, is this the thing that I could be doing that's going to propel me to all of my other things? And there's great books around it. The One Thing by Gary Keller is a fantastic book. If you guys haven't read, I would highly recommend to read it. We make every single one of our agents that join our team, they have to read that book. Because again, it's like principles of life, but it's principles on how to get paid, right? Not things that were taught through school. So I was able to answer that there. In terms of for CMA, it depends. Again, if that person, I'm identifying it, right? Like I'm super busy. And if I need to get out of my chair to go and actually sit in someone's living room and do the whole thing, I want to make sure that they're at a point where I actually could potentially put pen to paper and make it a contract. Okay. And if that person, which I gave an example earlier, says, hey, David, I live over on Dayfoot, going to be separating. I just need to know an evaluation right now so we can have an updated equity statement so that I can pay out my partner, carry the property for a year and a half, and then sell. I'm not getting out of my chair. I'll say, awesome. How long ago did you buy it? We bought it back in 2009. I say, did you buy it privately or did you buy it open on the MLS? If they buy it open on the MLS, I can pull up the old listing and I'll go, ever since the time of your ownership, how much work have you done to the property? And that will really depend. If they go, oh, we gutted the place, we did a full reno, etc. Okay, maybe it'll entail me going over to their house and chatting with it. But I've had people who say, oh yeah, we've lived in it for 4 years and we haven't done anything. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, we have no plans in selling. We just want to know for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, then let me not bug these people, or it's not really worth my time. If I wasn't so busy, then yes, I would see if I can book that appointment and go sit on their couch, etc. But I'm just way too busy to be taking care of that. Like I want leads that I can sit down across from, identify and actually transact and push them through the pipeline. But it really depends on the state. I would identify them. And then I guess the next thing I would do is identify your time and what's that worth. And shit, if you don't have any appointments, you don't have any listings, you don't have any buy deals going on or anything, for sure, jump, take the time to go have a coffee, make a really lasting impression on that person. But just know they might not transact for 2-3 years. That's fine. You'll be grateful that you did at that time. But that is not a scalable business. That's like a 5 to 7 deals per year business. It's too long and drawn out. So that would be my 2 cents there. But I do my best to not go do a CMA unless, like I just said, the sales cycle, if I look it up and I'm like, oh, this is a $2.5 million house, hell yeah. I don't care if they're moving for 2 years because it's actually worth my time. I will go, I'll over there, we literally have over 40 bottles of wine. We have unbelievable, beautiful wine that we have over there. I always go to someone's house with a bottle of wine. Always. Even if they don't drink, they'll give it to someone else who does. And they're like, whoa, thank you. This is so unnecessary. And I'm like, I never like to come to someone's home empty-handed. Thank you so much for having me in your home. Breaks the ice, and now I'm chilling with them. So I'm just being strategic where I'll actually get out of my chair. So pretty much like 1.75 to 2 million, I'll go and make that relationship because I'm looking forward to earning that relationship, cultivating it, and then I'll probably get some referrals and stuff down the road. But that's more like a relationship play. So it really depends. But that's my 2 cents. Any thoughts there around any of that stuff?
Everyone's behind that muted mic. I see.
Quiet. Yeah, it's a little quiet today.
Cool.
All good. I was just gonna say there's another question in the chat, but Emmanuel, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, not me. I think Victor has his hand up. Victor.
Yes, great to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna take a bold move here, and I'm gonna speak for this special someone. She is here, Glenda Malone. She did have a question. One of her questions here is, what can she do, right, to kind of stay relevant or kind of keep the long-term potentials interested? Some sort of maybe a follow-up plan or some sort of system that you guys may think of.
Yeah, I'll give you and again, I'm an 80-20 guy. So I'm like, what's the least amount that I can do that will actually get the job done, right? They say if you want to get something done right, you don't give it to the skilled person, you give it to the lazy person because they'll figure out how to just like get it good enough. So this is what we do. Number one, we do a monthly email, right? How many people here get a monthly email from something? Sephora, from whatever, from something, sends you monthly emails, okay? And I only say Sephora because my wife spends all my freaking money so I can see where she spends it all. So I'm not, this is all natural, guys. I'm not putting anything on here. But, and the reason why I say that is because all you need to do is curate one good monthly email. But here's what I find a lot of agents do horribly in their monthly email. They don't talk enough about real estate. They just don't. They talk about something else, right? I think it's good to have a component about family or whatever it is, but I think having that monthly email, and for us, and I'd be even happy, Emmanuel, I can flip you over an email after with an example of our monthly email, and you can send it to everybody. Rip it off. Don't try to recreate stuff, okay? I rip off everybody's stuff. If I like it, I take it. I'm like, oh, this is mine. Nothing's proprietary. I adopt it and I kind of move on, okay? So what I'm saying is in my monthly email, the biggest thing right away is a video. First thing, and the video is the same thing every single month, okay? Everybody gets monthly real estate stats from their board? Yes? Awesome. When you get those stats, there's 3 key things that trend the market, okay? So you guys can write this down. And you can also follow me on Instagram and see these videos. So I also post them on Instagram. We like to do a lot of cross referral content. So if I can post it on Instagram, we'll do it to emails. The problem is if you email someone too much, you piss them off and they unsubscribe. So we only send 1 email a month, okay? So in that email, we do a video where I break down the market, and that is done by how many new listings went on market this month, how many recent sales happened, and what was the average price point of those sales. And what we typically want to trend is all 3 of these numbers in 2 key metrics. Number 1 is month over month. So we could track inventory went up 18% month over month and sales went down, right? So that's a good one because people could kind of do some basic economics. And the other one is year over year. People want to know where were we at last year relative to where we at this year, okay? So it's a really easy talking video that you guys could do every single month. It makes you look super knowledgeable. It makes people start relying on you. And then the last 2 things I do in that video is I say, okay, guys, of all this numbers, if you're a buyer, here's my key pieces of advice for you. If you're a seller, here's my key pieces of advice for you. And then I put a simple call to action. If you have any questions at all, this can impact your upcoming move. All you gotta do is pick up the phone, give us a call, and we'll take it from there. Have a great day. Cheers. So simple. That is my email. And then we put some other stuff throughout there. And I'll send it to Emmanuel. You can send it out to you guys. But doing that video, I cannot share with you how many people reach out to me, DM me stuff, etc., whatever it is, respond back to the email. They find it incredibly valuable. Okay. So that's one thing I would do for every single one of your prospects, put them on a monthly email list. And then the other thing I would do simply is quarterly phone calls. Every 3 months, check in with them. Hey, what's going on? I used to be like, oh, I don't want to bug people, right? I don't want to just call them. What the hell am I going to call them about? And if you call someone and say, hey, I'm just calling you to follow up, you're fired. Like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Don't ever do that. What you do is you call with a sense of unsolicited value. Okay. So imagine this. Emmanuel lives at 123 Main Street. He's been getting my monthly emails, haven't talked to him for a little bit. And then I'm like, oh shit, I got to call him today. What am I going to call him about? I know his address. So I'll quickly pull up the most recent sales in his area over the past 3 months. I'll pull the stats as to what it was, averages on market, dollar cost per square foot, whatever it is. And I send out an email saying, hey, Emmanuel, just want to let you know some recent activity in the area. So I'll send a very personal email, and in the subject line, I write his property address. So whenever I get way too many emails, but if someone sent me something like that, my property address, like, oh, what the hell is that? Is that the city? What's happening, right? So I want to get some sort of call to action, get them to answer it. And then I set a reminder to follow up the next day. And I'll say, hey, Emmanuel, I was just thinking about you. Wanted to give you a call. I actually sent you over an email with some stuff. I just want to make sure you got it because I spent about 15, 20 minutes putting that together for you. And you know what they say every time? They'll either say, oh, no, I didn't get the email, but now I have something to talk about. I'm like, oh, no worries. Let me give you a quick synopsis on it now. Or they'll say, hey, I did get that email. Thank you so much. And then I'll just check in and say, hey, I just wanted to check in on you. How are things? And I take this as a time to re-identify them again. Because life changes. And when life changes, real estate can happen, right? So I check them in again. Hey, when we last spoke, X, Y, Z. Everything's still the same. Hey, listen, any plans at all going up over the next couple months? Hey, do you know anybody I can be working with right now? Hey, awesome. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. I'll check up with you later. Done. So the monthly email, the quarterly check-in call, quickly send them something of value that was specific to them. You'll sell houses. houses. That's like the most basic, and it doesn't even have to look sexy, guys. Like I did so well in this business, I didn't even have a business card my first 2 years. And I was sitting on panels and people were asking me like marketing and this and this. And I'm like, doesn't matter, man. Email and a phone and it's good to go. So I hope you guys got some good value on that one and we're taking notes. I think there was a lot of good nuggets. I see 2 hands raised. I don't know if you want to call on someone and then we could.
Gotham, I saw your hand go up first. So Gotham, then Manveer.
Hey man, yeah, no, great advice. For your emails that you do send out, kind of talking about the area, do you focus on cities specifically or regions?
Yeah, good question, man. So here's what I do. And where are you located?
I'm in Niagara, but I
Niagara,
focus
okay.
my marketing in the city of St. Catharines.
Got you. So I'm in Toronto. So when I'm pulling my stats, so you're pulling your stuff off ITSO, right? And Matrix, I'm pulling my stuff off the Toronto Real Estate Board. So pretty much all I'm doing is saying GTA market stats. You can actually get the stats every single month and I'll just break them down, right? So it's as simple as that. And the reason why I like to talk about it abroad is because sometimes if you get too narrow, you don't have enough data to talk about, right? And especially like, let's say you're in Oakville and one $10 million home pops off, it throws all the numbers around. So the whole chart, it's actually not aesthetically pleasing to look at. Whereas if I look at the market abroad, you can actually trend things a lot easier. And then we'll do another call to action and say, if you want to know what these specific numbers are for your area, drop me a DM, I'll get them over to you, right? And we actually curate an email, not an email, a PDF every single month of all the stats and your board, the Matrix does this for you as well. It shows you St. Catharines, Niagara, Hamilton, blah, it'll break it down and you can just email that to clients and it's actually in our thing and says, if you want to know what your specific market's doing, click this button, they get the whole PDF and they can just scroll to Burlington, they can scroll to Oakville and they can see that. And I've had actually some clients call me go, what the hell is this crap? And I'm like, oh man, dude, like a $15 million home just sold, messed up all those metrics, but if you took that out to account. So it gives them some stuff. And some people are very data driven, some people aren't. But that's what I would do if I were you. I'd give a more broad approach because it's also more palatable. Because if someone lives in St. Catharines and they want to move to Hamilton and you're talking about that whole region in general, you're giving them better perspective. Whereas if you're just hyper local, they might be like, oh, but I want to know what's happening over here as well. And they might seek out to try to connect with someone else over there versus having you as kind of the one-stop shop. So that would be my 2 cents. And it's easier to just, there's more data. It's just easier.
That's what I was thinking too. Thanks.
No worries, man.
Manveer.
Oh, all right. Okay. Hey guys. Hey David. Nice to meet you. First of all, I'm glad you're in Toronto. So it's relevant advice. I had questions about when you were talking about which meetings to go on and who to actually kind of prioritize. So I've had 2 similar situations kind of come up sometimes. One is when they mention that they're getting advice from another agent or maybe the agent that bought them the house in the first place a couple years ago. And I'll ask, hey, are you working with them? Like, I don't want to step on any toes, that kind of thing. And they say, oh no, we're still, it's not like that. Or they have some kind of family issues going on, whether it's a divorce happening in the house or there's a fight and like one person wants to sell, one person wants to this. And like, it's not so easy to just go in step by step. Hey, this is this. Okay, cool. Let's do a listing, done. Like there's some other issue going on. Is how would you kind of filter those things, or what would you do in those situations?
I've dealt with all of them as well, man. I guess really comes down to like what your time. Like I can't deal with that crap anymore. I'm just way too busy and I have a solid book of business. But let me tell you, man, up until I was doing, like I'll do about 65 deals this year, let's say, give or take. Before I was at that point, bro, I was calling people's divorce attorneys. Like I was involved, man. I was just taking care of it all day and night. And essentially my 2 cents there would just be kind of pick your poison. If you feel like, oh, man, screw this person, I don't want to deal with it, all good, right? Other opportunities will come up that will be more favorable to you. But when people are calling saying, hey, listen, I'm considering connecting with a couple other realtors, no matter what, and this is called reframing, okay? No matter what a prospect says, you say, great, that's awesome. You reaffirm the decision because it goes to show that you're always on the same page as them. So when people say to me, hey, David, I'm actually, you know what? I'm looking at maybe 1 or 2 other agents. I go, oh, that's awesome. You know what? I actually think that's really smart because when people go to buy a car, they're going out every weekend, different dealership, et cetera. Yet when they're looking to work with a realtor, they just work with one person, could have a good, could have a bad experience. So I actually think it's really smart that you're looking for a couple different agents. And actually, as a matter of fact, what is it specifically that you're looking for in the agent that you hire? And they're like, I'm looking for this. And I just start writing shit down. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, hey, man, anything else at all that'd be important to you about the agent you hire? And I keep going and I go, awesome. So here's what I'd love to do. It seems like you're open to interviews right now and you're connecting with some other people. I'd love to book a 15, 20-minute appointment where I can come down, sit down, show you what it is that we have to do and see if it'd be a good fit to work together. So does Thursday evening work better, or I have actually all day Sunday open? What's better for you? And then I book
Okay.
you. But it depends on where they're at, right? If they're like 2 years out, again, I wouldn't be rushing for that appointment personally, but you could. Again, it's depending on how busy you are, right? But I would. That's how I'd frame that. I'd always encourage that. And if it comes down to the separation, and I want everybody to understand this very clearly, when there is a divorce happening, there's two completely different parties, and you have to find out who is the decision maker. Have to. I've lost business because I'm talking to the wrong person. I've talked to the person, this gentleman named Glenn, I'm not going to say his last name. I was in business with it. I was conversation for years with this guy, $3 million home. He was the one that cheated on her. She was the one making all the decisions. And they hired a good friend of mine, Chantel, and I called her, I said, Chantel, how the hell did you get this listing? She goes, oh, I was talking to her for all these years. I'm like, son of a bitch, I didn't ask the question. Hey, when it comes time to sell the home, he's like, hey man, I'm sorry, man. It was so I would encourage you that when you're going through separations, be mindful to try to figure out who's making the decisions, what the process looks like, and by their tonality, by their excuses, by the way they're talking, you'll be able to realize who is who. Okay, so I would give you that 2 cents from the divorce perspective.
And if you have a feeling you're not on the decision-making side, then where do you kind of draw the line?
I'd say, hey, John, listen, I want to connect with you guys and sit down. And I recognize it's probably not going to be a fun conversation. What I don't want to have happen is broken telephone to occur. So when's the time that we can both meet, when I can meet with both of you at the same time? And if they continue to refuse, it's like, all right, I'm out. I'm not taking that appointment. It's not worth my time. I need to sit down with both decision makers, right? And then I'll realize, okay, it's her, or hey, it's him. And then I'll and I'm in the middle of a divorce right now. Chaos is breaking out. But Peter, they're both my client, but Peter, he's the one that's making all decisions. He's the one that has the court orders that says that she has to follow it, but she's been blowing us up with emails. I want to list at this date. I don't want to wait this long, et cetera, et cetera. So you just got to know what side, and then you can just be mindful to that at hand, right? So that would be my 2 cents. But hey, man, if you're peace in mind, we all deal with the same stuff, all of us.
Love this. We do have a few. So we have a question here from Harris. We also have something from Joshua and Peggy, Camilla as well. So I'll go with Harris, then I'll go with Camilla's. And then we do have something from Peggy, I know. So real quick, Harris was saying, hey, can you explain what goes inside a marketing booklet? Any specific things that should be in it?
Yep. Great question. Number one, you do an introduction letter. A little about yourself, who you are, why you're in real estate, why do people hire you, etc. That's one of the key things. Next, you want to talk to them a little bit about your plan of approach, what you do differently, right? So, pre-listing home inspections, cleaning service, top-notch marketing, photography, videography, whatever. Here. Everyone nowadays has a QR code, right? Scan some stuff and something goes somewhere. Build a landing page to where, hey, see some of our previous marketing examples, scan the QR code, have a landing page where they can actually start scrolling, see some of your previous marketing stuff. If you don't have any stuff, it's all good. Don't have to hop onto that. So that's a big one, your previous marketing. Another really big one that I would emphasize on is actually your process, the timelines, where you can alleviate with some people. You can even talk a little bit about how to determine the market. What's a buyer's market? What's a balanced market? What's a seller's market? Some key things. You don't want to put timely stuff because it'll go out of date, right? So the biggest one is marketing that one. And then the last thing that I typically do is put testimonials. I've done 2 personal huge renovations. Both times I've done it, both contractors, actually the same guy twice. But I'm like, I want to see, it's not only do I want to see your past work, I want to talk to those people. I want to know how you guys were on time. Did you leave the place a mess, X, Y, Z? So it's good to highlight previous testimonials. And even if you want to put some social proof, pictures of you with clients in a sold sign, whatever it is, to kind of package that all up together, I think that'd be solid. And then that's genuinely it, right? The marketing stuff we've gone really heavy on because we do a really luxury presence. We have advertising space in Beijing, Germany, you name it, right? Like we've really expanded to our different broad stuff because we're trying to compete with top-notch brokers who are doing that stuff. So we've kind of had to adopt to that. But I think for the most part, fundamentally, that would be the general breakdown.
Amazing. We do have, I guess we got to celebrate with Camilla. She says, I'm going to do my very first listing presentation tomorrow. Could you let me know 3, 4, or 5 top things I should bring with me that will help me close the deal?
Yeah, well, the first thing is the mindset. You're going there to service somebody, going there to help them. And whenever I sit down with the family for the first time, I'm just trying to look for a damn book in the bag. I always walk through, and again, I usually will bring a bottle of wine or something, and I actually have a slide that I can email you guys, and it actually breaks down exactly how we do our listing process from the first step, the follow-up email, whatever. But I don't want to overwhelm you now because your appointment's tomorrow. When you're going through the house, again, I always like to bring something, flowers, wine, whatever you feel is appropriate, to have them say, whoa, thank you. Okay, psychologically, you're putting a little bit of a difference. So that's one thing. The next thing is when I'm sitting down across from them, I'm very humble and just saying thank you for just giving me the opportunity to even be considered to be a realtor, right? They can hire anybody. There's several $1,000s associated to this. And I personally, every time, I'm still very grateful that people choose to work with us, right? So that's one thing I like to demonstrate. And then before I get started, I like to say, hey, listen, before I just jump into what it is it's going to look like to work together and why so many people choose to work with us, what are some key things that you guys want me to go over today so that you understand exactly what it looks like to sell your home? And then I start writing notes. Oh, we want to know about commission. Awesome. Anything else? No matter what they say, it's like you're going through a drive-through. You go, and you go, awesome. Commission. What else? And they'll say marketing. Great. Marketing. Staging. And I've had people go, oh, I don't want any staging. And this really helps open up how it is that I'll be able to mirror and match them along my presentation to see what I need to do to get them on the same page as me, or see, okay, the wife really cares about staging. I'm going to go deep on that because she really cares about that, right? And the husband, freaking numbers guy. I'm going to go deep on the comps because he showed to me, hey, I want to know how long it's going to take to sell the home. I want to know what the average price. I'm like, all right, sick. So it helps me really understand how I'm going to mirror and match them to get them to choose to work with me. So that's one thing. And this is a listing presentation. You ready? So that's it. Write this down right now. The first thing you're going to talk about is the preparation. What are you going to do to help them prepare their home for sale? Talk to them about that process. Okay, that's the number one thing. We're going to get a cleaning service. We're going to get moving boxes for you. We're going to do a pre-listing home inspection. We're going to take whatever. So that's the one thing, the preparation. The next one is marketing. Now that you have their home ready, how are you going to market that? We're going to put it on the MLS. We're going to be doing open houses. We're going to do, just listed flyers. We're going to do Facebook ads. We're going to do XYZ. Okay, so we're going to talk about the marketing. And then the third thing is you're going to say, we're going to talk about pricing. And pricing is 3 things, okay? Number 1, what market are we in? Talk to them knowledgeably about the market. Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? Are we in a balanced market? There's only 3 types of markets that can be had. And for their specific home type and the specific price point, it's going to vary. So in our area, under $1 million, I sold a house Monday. I sold a house yesterday, and I'm selling another house today. All of them just under $1 million because that market's moving. All my stuff over 1.5, man, I can't move that. So 1.5 and up, buyer's market, south of $1 million's a seller's market. So articulate with them what kind of product they have. And the second thing in pricing, what do you think their house is worth? Worth 980, 975. And then the last thing in pricing, show them how you can price a home. And there's only 3 different ways to price a home. Number 1 is you list it at market value. Okay. Maybe leave it 5, 10 grand over, a little, maybe 1% over whatever the price is, depending on what the recent sales have been. Number 2 is you list it low intentionally to generate a ton of activity and get multiple offer situation. And the last one is to intentionally overvalue your property, which, to be honest, only really works in the luxury market. Okay. So that is a listing presentation: preparation, marketing, pricing. Talk about what you're going to do with them. And then the very last thing, you tell them about why people choose to work with you. What are some past experience that you have? And if you don't have any, don't worry about it. Don't, lose sleep over it. And then you talk to them about your commission. And in the most sincere way, I've had too many people, like myself included, we take 5% commission. That's broken down 2.5 each side in our markets. I never take 1 penny off, ever, period. Even if it's for my mom. Okay. This is where we're at. This is the level that we're at. However, when I started my career, It wasn't always like that. I didn't have a ton of business to turn away or go to. So I tell everyone, listen, you always shoot for your full commission, but along the way, your compensation will be directly tied to the services that you deliver and how confidently you can deliver them. And that just comes through practice. So that's my 2 cents. That's a listening presentation in a nutshell. And you want to practice it all the time. We just put a basketball court in our backyard. I suck at playing basketball, but I'm out there every day shooting 50 shots with my kids. I'm trying to get better at this, and I'm already making significant progress. I haven't even thought once about actually stepping in a court and playing with other people. Yet people do real estate like they're just ready for game time. No one practices. I used to just sit all day and go through my listing presentation, know it off the top of my head so I can spit at things. If people ask me why this other agent's doing it for a cheaper commission, etc. So I'd encourage you all to take the time to practice and practice and practice so that when it's game time, it's light work. You just kind of go through and make the movements. Okay. So hope that was super helpful. I wanted to go a little bit deeper on that one because listing presentation is super soon and go get paid. So I hope that was some good value for you.
Yes, definitely go get paid, Camilla. Before we hand it off to Peggy with her question, I had Joshua's here real quick. And it ties back, David, to what you were talking about with the divorce situation. So he was just asking, wouldn't both parties be making the decisions in a divorce?
No, they won't, because even, they have the prenuptial agreements different, right? So that in itself, I just did another transaction earlier this year. The prenup clearly stated that the wife, she was to receive 80% of the sale proceeds and he was only to receive 20% because there was gifted funds involved. So she was the main person I was dealing with the entire time. The soon-to-be ex was a little bit of a pain in our ass, but that was my main person. So it really depends. And again, I've had other situations where they're the one that the reason the marriage isn't working out. Don't want to get into too much details, let's say, but they're like, David, like whatever she says, let's just do that, right? I mean, awesome. So I'm trying to spend the time there. So it really depends on the situation. Divorces are the messiest transaction, period. Next, maybe estate sales, because there's a couple more complexities, right? But I would just be super mindful. Yeah.
Excellent. Peggy, all right, it's time for you to take it away.
Hi, David. Thank you for share all the information with us. So I'm very new with the online lead, and I used to work with a developer for 6 years. We do make calls for the prospect, but we have like script. We're talking about all the new development coming, and they register on the development website. So can you share some do and don't tips for us? And also is there any right thing to say? I'm looking for the right thing to say to the lead. Is there something that you can share with me for like a new online lead agent? Thank you.
Yeah, well, listen, first and foremost, you're literally out of this world. So that's the coolest background I think I've seen in a long time. So you're already off to a good start. What I was going to say is I would really encourage that. I've heard it far too often. People kind of want that secret sauce, that secret saying, that secret thing. I would encourage everyone on this call. It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. Okay. So that has always been an important thing to me. And whenever I'm talking about something to anybody, I'm leading with value, but I'm also making sure that they're in line with the value I'm trying to perceive. Okay. So if someone does hit you up and they want to know about your development, they've kind of raised their hand. Hey, I want to know more information about that. Right. So I think your scripts are probably fine. Probably refining them, understanding where you're losing people, and like all scripts, and we have stuff as well for clients, for our agents that use stuff. It's seeing where things get disconnected, right? And I've had people go to the script way too long and they hang up the phone right away. You don't get them through. So I usually like to start things off really quick. Hey, John, it's David calling. Listen, you reached out to me. Just wanted to get back to you. Did I catch you in okay time? And they're like, yeah, what's this regarding? I'm like, oh, awesome. Glad you asked. And I'll jump right into it. So I kind of get the permission to get it. Yeah, you'll talk to other people and they're like, don't ever ask if now's a good time or whatever it is. So I don't think it's necessarily what exactly to say. I just think it's the way you say it, the way you frame things, and just kind of keep chipping away. And again, from the pre-construction side, I guess is what it is, or the development side, we don't do a lot of pre-construction. I don't have any specific things. I guess I would always frame it around the lines of, hey, you reach out to get some more information. I'm here now to give you that information. Let's talk about it. Right? Oh, no. And it's like, and then I'll go, oh, cool. So you don't want to know anything, yet you reach out to us. Doesn't make any sense, right? I'm sure you always come with value, trying to be helping that person. That's the way you say it, not what you're saying specifically, and you'll keep them engaged on a conversation. That's what I find too often, even when we're listening back to our agents' calls, they are not engaging with that person. And it's very flat, very disconnected. And I always even I like to throw a little bit of humor around sometimes, and it's very mirror and match. If I call someone like, hey, I got 2 minutes, quick, awesome, I won't take longer than a minute, let's go. Or I'll get other people who are like, oh, what a lovely day we're having. So it really depends on who I'm talking to, and it's going to help me understand how I'm going to deliver what I'm trying to say to them. So it's not about what I'm saying, it's about how I say it. Hope that helps to some degree. But yeah, that's all I got. And you'll do great.
Great. So I'm trying to see if anybody else, Jeffrey is asking real quick, what if they say no, thanks, not interested in selling or change their mind? Just talking to the bot.
What if they say, sorry, one more time, that last part?
Yeah, what I'm getting is, what if they say no, thanks, not interested in selling or change their mind, just talking to the bot? So Jeffrey, I'm guessing you're saying if they say that to the bot.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I guess what I would say is if someone's like, oh, no, thank you, not interested, I'm like, awesome. What changed from you deciding to reach out to us to right now me actually giving you a call back?
Okay, and normally what I think it is that they were just expecting an automated valuation and they weren't
Okay.
interested.
Oh, hit me with that. So we'll script play it. I'm like, oh, awesome. Well, hey, just out of curiosity, what changed from you clicking that button to me being here right now to get that for you?
Oh, I was just curious. I'm, just wondering what the house was worth, but I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm not interested in selling.
Oh, gotcha. So you just wanted like a generic system to send you something. You didn't want a professional to tell you exactly what your home is worth.
Exactly.
So you don't see any value in knowing what your home is worth?
Well, I just wanted an automated thing. I wasn't expecting to get texted or somebody calling me.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm saying that in a nice way. Sometimes they say it in a not a very nice
Oh,
way.
cool. And I would say, hey, I'm so sorry that our professionalism and us being on the ball has offended you in any way. We just like to do our stuff and show people how it is to work with us. But hey, no problem. If you want just a generic random number for arguably your largest asset, totally good to give that to you. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how many square feet, and where's your house located? I'll flip you off an email that's somewhat accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, like if that's what you want to do, like that's fucking crazy to me. But sure, and I kind of telling them that I'm like, and I tell my agents this too. I'm like, you need to understand that they should be so happy to be talking to you. Like when I wanted, like my accounting team, I'm on my fourth accounting team. It's been so hard for me to find quality professionals to deal with our back end, and I finally found them. I'm so happy to be talking to them, and I'm like, these people are lucky to be talking to me. So I'm shocked when I don't get a good response. And when I keep that attitude, when I do find that right person, it's like butter. It just works. Like, oh no, it totally makes sense. I had one guy, and we literally got it, a $2.1 million lead that Meskula had given us. So thanks so much, guys. Called him and he's like, hey man, to be honest, we might not be moving till next year. And I said, oh, cool. So you like to make decisions when you're super rushed and stressed? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, you said you're not gonna move next year. Yeah, you don't want to talk to me now. Next year is literally only 6 months away. How long you guys been in the house for? He's like, oh, 25 years. I'm like, oh, so you want to do 25 years of you living in the house and rush out in the last couple months? That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you rather have more time or would you rather have less time? And he's like, oh, definitely would rather more time. And I go, that's why we should meet now. And then I've explained to him what that looks like. He's like, awesome. Can you come by tomorrow? And then we buy his house. We had an awesome coffee, sat down, no pressure, showed him what the process looked like. I always do 2 appointments, by the way. I don't know if that cares for everybody. The first appointment, I just like to walk through the house, meet them, understand the situation. Then I'll actually go back, do an updated evaluation, come back and do the whole presentation, the whole shebang and everything. And that 2 face-to-face, I just find builds me a little bit more rapport. But sometimes I walk in these homes and I'm like, holy crap, they really undersold how nice the house was. Or, man, these people said it was fully renovated. This place looks like trash. So I don't like to use their basis off of it, but yeah, again, hopefully it gives you some synopsis. If people are rushing you off and they don't care for your time of the day, all good. Help them understand like that, how lucky they are to be speaking to you. And if they don't want your help, all good. Don't give it to them. Find the next person. We get those calls too. I get them all the time.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Excellent. I see, Matthew, your hand is up, and if you want to shoot a last question there.
Yeah, it's a question about the that 80/20, doing the extra little bit, dropping stuff off. So I started doing that. I've started making these like short little magazine booklet things, kind of like a listing booklet that you're talking about, similar to the steps that you mentioned. Now, is it would it be appropriate to start dropping these off like before the appointment, or bring it with you? Like, I don't know what becomes like a weird thing where people are getting stuff at their door from some stranger. I these are really well made books, but like what's a good time to drop them off, and
And
what
that's why
else
I
to
like
bring?
that's why I like to go 2 times, man. So what I tell people, and this is kind of our listing process.
Yeah.
I say, listen, I'm going to come by for our first appointment just so I can see your home, so I can have an accurate representation of what I'm working with. And when I pop by for the first time, I'll be there for 15 to 20 minutes or however long that you need me to stay there. And, we have families ask us a lot of questions, etc. And then I'll book another appointment a couple days after so I can spend the time to put together an accurate report for you and a marketing strategy, right? People love that stuff. Like, awesome. Then when I go by the first time, I'll either come with the bottle of wine, not Pure Life water, come with either a bottle of wine and then that booklet, and I'll leave it behind there. Yeah, there you go, man. See, there you go. I'll either take that booklet and leave it behind, right? And I drop it off there at that point. And then on my second appointment, in between there, I send them another email confirming our appointment. And in that email, I have recent sales that have happened, what's currently on the market in their area that we should be aware of, our client testimonials, our previous marketing examples, and then a digital version of the book I gave them again. And that's it. And then I roll through now and I have their full detailed CMA. And then I have my pitch deck that we go through what we do to sell houses. And that's our appointment. So that's when I drop it off, right? Then I know people in advance are like, oh, we'll get it dropped off before on their doorstep. But I'm like, man, what if they use the garage and they don't open their front door? Like, there's so many, I like to give it to them personally. I like to let them know, hey, listen, guys, if you want to take some time to go through this, I'll be covering everything when we go back, but I would love for you to browse through it. And I sometimes joke and I'm like, do you guys have any like sleep insomnia or you have struggled to go to sleep? Bring this with you in bed, read 2 pages, you'll be out like a light, right? And then they laugh, blah, blah, blah. See everyone here laugh for the most part, right? And it's like, oh, this guy's charming, he's charismatic, whatever. And like, it's like, listen, real estate isn't sexy, but I wanted to let them know, just like a lecture going through university, neither is accounting, but there's basic fundamental principles you need to understand. And I want to let them know I'm the guy to do that, because most people are like, oh yeah, David, we get it. You're the guy. Cool. All good. My favorite clients, I'm like, sick. Talk to you never. I'll let you know when we have an offer in hand. And they're the best referral sources. They'll literally call me, hey, listen, we need to sell this property. Hey, we need to do this. Hey, I'm sending over to so-and-so. It'd be great. I'm like, yeah, man. You just got to fish more. What happens to a lot of people, and I'll end off on this. What happens to a lot of people when they're doing lead stuff is they have too few leads and they're fishing so close to shore where no one really jumps in the boat and casts as many lines as possible. And when you have more opportunities and more options, you allow yourself to be treated how you really want to be treated with the right people, right? So even earlier, the general was like, yeah, well, what if they don't? It's like, okay, cool. You don't want my time? Have a great day. Talk to you never. All good. I'm going to find the people who are receptive to what it is I'm putting out there. And those are the best people. And that's why brands do such a good job with their message, attracting their audience, and they have really good retention. They have really good customer ratings. And us as realtors don't spend the time to do that, right? But I personally have an awesome book of business. People call me like clockwork. And I found my people that I vibe with, and it's awesome. So I just encourage all of you along your lead generation process, just be mindful of who you're looking for and be excited when you connect with that person. And I've even done open houses before. And when I'm done and I leave, I'll literally call one person and go, hey, listen, John, we had a busy open house today, but you were the only guy I really connected with that I'd be excited about bringing on as a client. How's your home process shopping right now looking like? And I convert 100% of the time. I just find that person and I'm like, oh, I can actually have a drink with this person. I can have dinner with this person. I'd be interested in knowing more about them, etc. And I just go let them know, like, hey, you're my profile type for someone I'd be looking to take on. I'd love to get in business with you. And people are like, awesome. No one's ever said that to me. Yet people say it when lawyers, they actually have an engagement letter. Life insurance policies, they have engagement letters. Realtors, you got nothing. They're just like, can I show you a house? It's like, that's not the vibe, man. Like, it just doesn't work. So I would encourage all of you, again, it's not about what you're saying, it's about how you're saying it. Figure out who you're looking for, go get your audience, and just stay consistent on top of all that stuff.
Amazing, amazing. Well, David, this was an amazing session. Everybody, your questions are what got us this far. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for
Thank you,
participating.
guys.
And yeah, I want to be encouraging everyone to stay very mindful in where you are in your business growth process. David shared with us how it was when he got started, what he was doing then, what he was doing then when he didn't have this huge team. So putting in the daily inputs, depending on where you are in your process, is crucial. And we're here to help you. Thank you all for being here. And let's go crush it.